Free, not cheap, not discounted, actually free. Right now, scattered across the American prairie, there are towns handing out residential land for the price of a signature, and a few that will even write you a check for building a tiny home on it. You've been told retirement means a mortgage until you're 90, or a beige condo with a $200 HOA fee for the privilege of a shared mailbox. Meanwhile, these towns are so desperate for neighbors they've turned dirt into a welcome gift, and most of them ask for just one thing in return: a tiny home on a real permanent foundation. That's the whole toll. Today, we're counting down 10 hidden towns where you can retire in a tiny home for free, or so close to free your accountant will ask if you're laundering money. One of them officially declared itself the first tiny house-friendly town in America. Another will hand you cash just for showing up with blueprints. But stay to the end, because we're also exposing 5 towns that look like bargains and quietly eat retirees alive. Choosing one of those instead could cost you everything. Let's break it down. Number 10. Spur, Texas. Back in 2014, this little West Texas cotton town did something no city council in America had done before. It stood up, looked at its shrinking population, and officially declared itself the nation's first tiny house-friendly town. Not tolerant, friendly. While other cities were banning anything under 1,000 square feet, Spur said, "Bring your 400 square foot cabin, we'll wave at it from the porch." Residential lots here have sold for a few $100s, sometimes less than the cost of the U-Haul that brought you. There's no minimum square footage as long as your tiny home sits on a foundation, which in tiny house world is basically a love letter. Texas has no state income tax, so your Social Security check arrives whole and leaves slowly. The catch, and there's always a catch, is that Spur is remote. The nearest big box store is over an hour away in Lubbock, and the summer wind doesn't blow, it exfoliates. But then the sun goes down, and a West Texas sky opens up so dark the Milky Way looks like spilled sugar. Crickets in the mesquite, a property tax bill smaller than your streaming subscriptions. People who moved here describe the same thing. The first week feels empty, the first month feels quiet, and by month 3, the idea of paying $2,000 a month to hear a neighbor's television through the wall sounds like a prank you used to fall for. Spur doesn't have nightlife. Spur has stars, and stars are free too. If Spur sounds too easy, the next town doesn't sell you the land at all. It just gives it to you. Number 9. Marquette, Kansas. Marquette is a brick Main Street town of about 600 people in the Smoky Hills, and for years it has offered free residential lots to anyone willing to build. Free, as in the town deeds you the land and your job is to put a house on it within the agreed timeline, usually around a year or two depending on the program terms. Kansas doesn't tax Social Security for most retirees anymore. Groceries and services here cost dramatically less than the national average, and Canopolis Lake sits just down the road with sandstone bluffs, hiking trails, and fishing that costs less per year than one dinner in a city. Marquette also has, for reasons nobody fully explains, a genuinely impressive motorcycle museum on Main Street. Small towns collect weird treasures the way grandmas collect ceramic cats. Now, the fine print matters. Most free lot programs require a stick-built or modular home that meets local code, so before you tow in a tiny house on wheels, call City Hall and charm whoever answers. That phone call is worth thousands. The person who answers is probably also the mayor, the librarian, and the softball coach. Quick question while we're here, and be honest in the comments. Would you actually take a free lot in a town of 600 people? Yes, hand me the deed, or no, I need at least one target within an hour of my body at all times. Drop your answer below, because the split on this is always 50-50 and always hilarious. But if a free lot by a lake sounds nice, the next town throws in a college and a parade. Number 8. Curtis, Nebraska. Curtis is home to about 900 people, a 2-year agriculture college, and a free lot program that has quietly rolled out the welcome mat for new residents for years. And as of early 2026, the town was still promoting available lots. The town literally advertised it that way: come build here, the land is on us. Cost of living in rural Nebraska runs roughly 25% below the national average, and a small new build on a free lot can land your total housing cost under what most Americans pay in rent for a single year. Every spring, Curtis puts on an Easter pageant that the whole region shows up for, which tells you everything about the social calendar. It's church suppers, ball games at the college, and neighbors who notice when your porch light doesn't come on, in the good way. One transplant described it like this: the town noticed me in week 1, fed me by week 3, and by month 2 I was somehow in charge of the pie table at a fundraiser I never agreed to attend. That's the economy here. Casseroles and obligations both delivered warm. The trade-off is that Nebraska does tax some retirement income depending on your situation, and winter here has opinions. Strong ones. You'll learn what a ground blizzard is, and you will not enjoy the lesson. But your free lot comes with something no city can sell you. A town small enough that the pharmacist knows your refills by heart, and if free land is good, the next town does something even stranger. It pays you cash. Number 7. Harmony, Minnesota. Harmony sits in the bluff country of southeastern Minnesota, surrounded by Amish farms, trout streams, and one of the largest caves in the Midwest, Niagara Cave, where a 60-foot underground waterfall roars beneath the cornfields. But the real headline is the money. Harmony has offered a cash rebate to people who build new homes in town, scaled to the value of the house, reaching into 5 figures for larger builds and still meaningful money for modest ones. A town in America will hand you thousands of dollars for the crime of moving in. Pair that rebate with a small, efficient home and southeastern Minnesota's low land costs, and your out-of-pocket starts shrinking towards zero. Life here moves at buggy speed, literally. There are horse-drawn Amish buggies on the shoulder of the highway, and the farmer's market sells pies that could end family feuds. The downsides are real. Minnesota does tax some Social Security depending on income, and winter arrives in November like an unpaid intern with something to prove. You will own a snowblower. It will become your personality. And here's the detail that should seal it for retirees. Harmony sits well under an hour from Rochester, Minnesota, home of the Mayo Clinic, one of the best hospital systems on the planet. Most retirement guides tell you to pick a town near good golf. The smarter move is picking a tiny hometown near world-class cardiology, and Harmony quietly wins that contest for the entire Midwest. Cash back on a home, an underground waterfall down the road, and the Mayo Clinic within driving distance is a combination that shouldn't exist. The next town, though, gives away land where the antelope outnumber the objections. Number 6. Flagler, Colorado. Flagler is a high plains town of a few hundred people about 2 hours east of Denver, and it made national news years ago for giving away land to attract new residents and businesses. Out here, Colorado stops being ski resorts and lattes and becomes ocean flat grassland, pronghorn antelope, and a horizon so wide it feels rude. Residential lots in town go for almost nothing. The free land program has focused on bringing in people who'll build and stay, and the cost of living sits far below both Denver and the national average. Colorado also gives retirees a generous deduction on retirement income, which softens the tax bill considerably. Now, honesty time. Flagler is quiet in a way that city people find spiritual for about 6 days and then alarming. The grocery run is a planned event. And we need to have a serious conversation about the hail, because the hail out here has ambitions. June storms roll off the plains, dropping stones the size of golf balls, occasionally eggs. And the morning after, the whole town inspects roofs together like it's a group project. Car hoods become percussion instruments. Gardens become salsa. Your tiny home wants a metal roof, your truck wants a carport, and your dog wants to renegotiate the terms of the move. Locals just shrug, glance at the sky, and say it needed to rain anyway. That's the plains for you. Half menace, half neighbor. But watch a thunderstorm build 50 miles away, across open prairie from your own porch, coffee in hand, spending nothing, and tell me the mountains were the good part of Colorado. And if wide open sounds lonely, the next town comes with a lake, a festival, and free dirt. Number 5. Loup City, Nebraska. Loup City calls itself the Polish capital of Nebraska, throws a full Polish heritage festival every summer with polka and pierogi, and has offered free residential lots to newcomers willing to build. It sits 10 minutes from Sherman Reservoir, nearly 3,000 acres of walleye, whitebait, and pontoon boats moving at nap speed. This is the version of lake retirement that usually costs 7 figures in Minnesota or Michigan, except here the land is free and the bait shop knows your name by June. Housing costs in this part of Nebraska run among the lowest in the country. The town has its own hospital nearby, which at retirement age matters more than any restaurant scene. And crime is the kind where the police report mentions loose cattle. The catch repeats itself. Free lots come with build requirements and deadlines, so a tiny home on a permanent foundation that meets code is your golden ticket, while a house on wheels needs a conversation first. Now a July evening here, festival music drifting up from the park, a bag of homemade pierogi on your counter, and a lake sunset you didn't pay a dime of lakefront premium for. The next town trades the lake for stone, and it's stranger than it sounds. Number 4. Lincoln, Kansas. Not the Nebraska capital, the tiny Kansas one, seat of Lincoln County, population around 1,200, and one of several Kansas towns that have offered free building lots to anyone who'll construct a home. This is post-rock country where early settlers had no trees, so they carved fence posts out of limestone, and thousands of those stone posts still march across the hills like the world's most stubborn art installation. The courthouse square looks like a movie set. A modest new build here can cost less than a parking spot in San Francisco, and Kansas has stopped taxing Social Security for most retirees, which turned the whole state into a quiet retirement upgrade almost nobody noticed. Daily life is coffee at the cafe where the same four farmers have solved every world problem since 1987, a library with actual events, and a grocery store where checkout takes 20 minutes because of conversation, not lines. What you give up is everything trendy. There is no sushi. There is beef, and there is more beef. Summer heat rolls in thick and the wind never fully clocks out. So here's the second test of the video, and I want real answers in the comments. A free lot, a paid-off tiny home, a Social Security check Kansas doesn't touch, but the nearest Target is over an hour away and the cafe special is beef 7 days a week. Deal or deal breaker? The comment split on this one tells you exactly who's built for the prairie. And the next town puts a deadline on the gift, which is exactly why it works. Number 3. New Richland, Minnesota. New Richland is a farm town of about 1,200 people in southern Minnesota that made headlines with a beautifully simple offer, a free residential lot, as long as you build a home on it within roughly a year. The offer has been running for years, though terms shift, so confirm the current deadline with the city before you fall in love. That deadline scares off dreamers and rewards doers, which is precisely who thrives here. The town sits near Lake Victoria and a network of southern Minnesota lakes, so summer means fishing off quiet docks and sweet corn sold on card tables with an honesty jar. A small, efficient build on a free lot here can put your total housing cost under 6 figures, in a state with genuinely excellent rural healthcare access, which is the retirement variable everyone ignores until the year they can't. The trade-offs are the honest Minnesota ones. Winters are long, real, and character-building. The wind chill will teach you vocabulary, and Minnesota taxes some retirement income depending on your bracket. But there's something clarifying about a town that says the land is free, prove you're serious. It filters for neighbors who show up, and showing up is the entire economy of a small town. Speaking of showing up, if you're finding these programs useful, hit subscribe because I dig up overlooked retirement escape hatches like this every single week. Now the top 2, and the first one comes with cranes, thousands of them. Number 2. Elwood, Nebraska. Elwood is a village of around 700 people in south-central Nebraska that has offered free residential lots, and it sits just minutes from Johnson Lake, one of the state's favorite recreation lakes, lined with cabins, sailboats, and retirees who figured all this out 20 years before the rest of us. Every spring, this stretch of Nebraska hosts one of the greatest wildlife spectacles on Earth. Hundreds of thousands of sandhill cranes funneling through the Platte River Valley, filling the sky like living smoke. People fly in from other continents to see what would be your Tuesday. The financial picture stacks up the same beautiful way: free lot, low-cost build, cost of living far below national average, property taxes on a tiny home that barely register, and a lake lifestyle with none of the lake pricing. The honest downsides: Nebraska's retirement income taxes deserve a look before you commit. The nearest city amenities are in Lexington or Kearney, and summer brings storms that mean business, so build to code and respect the siren. But stand on your own free lot some March morning, frost on the prairie grass, a mug of coffee going cold in your hand, and watch the sky above you fill with cranes. That's the kind of rich that doesn't show up on a bank statement. And yet, number 1 beats it on pure practicality. Number 1. Mankato, Kansas. Not the Minnesota Mankato, the Kansas one, seat of Jewell County, population under 1,000, and one of the longest-running free lot towns in America, still listing free building sites as of early 2026. Mankato has offered free residential building sites for years with some of the most straightforward terms you'll find: pick a lot, commit to building, become a neighbor. That's the whole pitch. Jewell County is one of the least expensive places to live in the entire United States, the kind of place where total monthly expenses for a retiree in a paid-off small home can slide under $1,000, including the fun stuff. Kansas leaving Social Security alone means your check lands intact, the pace of life is set by harvest and high school sports, and the town's biggest traffic problem is a combine using both lanes in October. What makes Mankato number 1 has nothing to do with glamour. Mankato has none, and it knows it. It wins on friction. Lowest cost, simplest program, fewest surprises, a community that has been welcoming newcomers long enough to be good at it. A free lot, a well-built tiny home, and a fixed income stops being a survival plan and becomes an actual life. Porch, garden, dog, peace. One retiree described moving to a free lot town this way. It felt like the country was full and somebody whispered that there was still one empty room and the rent was zero. That's Mankato. Nobody brags about living here, which is exactly why it still works. But before you call a single city hall, stop, because the next 5 towns look just as cheap and they are traps. Here's where this video earns its keep. 5 places that seem like retirement hacks and quietly aren't. These are the towns that go viral in headlines every year. Houses for $1, land for free, paradise for pennies, and every year a wave of retirees moves in, and a quieter, sadder wave moves back out 18 months later with a lighter bank account. Learn these 5 and you'll never fall for the pattern again. Number 5 to avoid: Slab City, California. The famous free place, an abandoned military base in the desert where nobody pays rent and nobody asks questions. Sounds like freedom until you learn there's no water system, no power grid, no trash service, no police response worth mentioning, and summer temperatures that hit 115 degrees for weeks. Free land with no infrastructure isn't free. It's a survival course with a sunset. Number 4, Gary, Indiana, and every dollar home program like it. A house for $1 makes a great headline and a terrible retirement plan. These homes typically need $50,000 to $100,000 in repairs, sit in neighborhoods with collapsing services, and come with renovation deadlines that forfeit the property if you miss them. That dollar buys you a construction project with a countdown clock, nothing more. Number 3, Cairo, Illinois. Rock-bottom home prices at the meeting of 2 great rivers and a town that has lost its hospital, most of its stores, and most of its people. When a place gets that cheap, the price is the warning label. Housing that cheap in a town without a pharmacy still costs you just pay in gas and emergencies. Number 2, the Villages, Florida, and honestly, most big brand retirement communities. Nothing hidden here except the math. Bond payments, amenity fees, HOA-style charges, and Florida's homeowners insurance crisis stacking on top of each other until that affordable retirement costs more than the house you left. Golf carts are fun, fee schedules are forever, and number 1 to avoid: Quartzsite, Arizona. Every winter it's a paradise of tiny homes and RVs, cheap desert lots, and 100,000 happy snowbirds. Then May arrives, the temperature passes 110, the town empties like a fire drill, and anyone who bought planning to live there year-round discovers why the locals didn't warn them. Seasonal paradise, permanent mistake. So what separates the 10 from the 5? The good towns give you land and ask you to build a life. The traps give you a price tag and hide the invoice. Every free lot program on this list has one requirement in common: a phone call to a real human at a small town hall who will tell you exactly what qualifies, what the deadline is, and probably where the best pie is. Make that call before you make any other move. If this video just saved you from a dollar home or handed you a free lot idea, do one thing: subscribe. Every week I dig through small town programs, tax loopholes, and overlooked corners of the map so your retirement check goes further than the government ever intended. Next week, I'm covering the states that quietly stopped taxing retirement income entirely, and 2 of them will genuinely surprise you. See you there.